Leaving an old 401k with a previous employer is common. However, it comes with a lot of potential drawbacks. What are those top dangers with leaving an old 401k with an old employer? Got that and more coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I'm the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. I saw a recent statistic about the amount of forgotten 401ks out there. It's staggering. I'm going to share that here in just a second. But when you think about it, throughout your career, the average person is going to change jobs about 6 to 7 times. And honestly, a lot of those are going to be clustered in your early working years. Guys, those are the dollars that are going to be working the longest and the hardest for you with retirement. Do not neglect what you do with those old retirement accounts, old 401ks from previous employers. Many people, it's very common to just leave them where they are, leave them at that old employer. But there's lots of dangers and issues with that. I'm going to share the biggest ones with you here in just a second. Typically, when you do leave an employer, you've got a few choices as what to do with that old 401k. You can cash it in. I wouldn't recommend that. Oftentimes that can feel really appealing if you've got short-term sort of consumer debt, the car debt, the credit card, that sort of thing, but it can really limit your ability to build your retirement nest egg. So I wouldn't advise that, but yep, you can withdraw those dollars. You can leave them where they are. Okay, there's dangers to that. We're going to talk about them. You can roll those dollars over to an IRA. The pre-tax dollars would go to the IRA. The after-tax or Roth dollars would go to the Roth IRA. Or you can transfer the old 401k into your new 401k if you're immediately eligible or your plan allows for incoming rollovers or transfers. Those are typically your choices, and it's not one size fits all, although a couple of those rolling overs tend to make the most sense, but you got to work with your CFP for your specific situation, see what makes the most sense. Leaving it where it is, though, is sort of the default easy option. I don't need to do anything. Those dollars are still there. I don't want to mess anything up, and it's going to require some work to make a decision as to where they should go best. I'll just leave them there. The problem is that can create some pretty significant drawbacks. The first is likely it's going to limit your investment choices. Within 401ks, they've done all sorts of studies to try to encourage people to save into their 401k. And one of the studies that they found is the more investment choices someone has, the less likely they are to contribute. All of us have this paralysis by analysis. Well, I don't want to make a bad choice, therefore I'm just not going to save anyway. And so the solution is actually to dilute your ability to create a well-diversified financial plan. That's right. The solution has been, well, we just won't give a lot of investment choices that will make people a little bit more comfortable selecting what their investment choices should be, and you're all set. Well, the problem is, you can't build a truly diversified portfolio or a fully diversified portfolio with many 401ks. As a financial planner, drives us crazy. Yes, we want people to contribute to 401ks and start saving up for retirement, and yet at the same time, I want it to be with the right diversification and the right structure. Leaving an old 401k behind with an old employer typically means that instead of going out and rolling those dollars over to an IRA where you've got a lot of investment choices, you're staying limited in what your investment options are by leaving the dollars there. Second risk or problem with leaving an old 401k behind is you typically don't stay current on beneficiaries. Who are the beneficiaries of that old account? Did you first open the 401k when you weren't married, but you are now? Did you first open it when you were married, but you're not now? Right? Do you have more kids today than you did back then? Have you stayed up to date on those beneficiaries? And in beneficiaries, when you're saving up for retirement, especially during your career, it's often an afterthought. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter until it's the only thing that matters. It doesn't matter who the beneficiary is until something happens and all of a sudden you can't move forward. Nothing can be done until you figure out, well, who's the beneficiary of that account? And leaving an old 401k behind at a previous employer increases the odds that you're not going to stay up to date on those important beneficiary designations. Third, old 401ks left at previous employers can often lead to missed planning opportunities. With an IRA, if you transition the old 401k into an IRA or Roth IRA, you typically have more flexibility in withdrawal options, some creative withdrawal strategies as well, Roth conversions, that if it's out of sight, it tends to be out of mind, and you can overlook some meaningful planning opportunities that allow those dollars to compound even more, improve your tax picture and for your retirement and so on. So missed opportunities is the third reason why it can be dangerous to leave an old 401k at a previous employer. And then lastly, the fourth reason is actually, in my opinion, the biggest, the most important, and that is you could lose track of the account altogether. Guys, take a look at this report. This is a couple years old. I imagine it's gotten worse, not better, but from 2023, a study found that nearly 30 million 401ks have been forgotten. Not $30 million, 30 million accounts. In dollars, that equates to $1.6 trillion they suspect of 401ks being forgotten about, left behind, potentially already in unclaimed or going to unclaimed. Guys, that is a staggering amount. And if you say, well, there's no way that will happen to me, let me just give you a couple common situations that could come up. Your old 401k company changes, meaning either the business that you worked for changes hands, they were bought out or they were sold, something like that, or where they had the 401k shifts from one 401k provider to another. In either of those situations, in order for you to stay in touch, there's got to be a transition of information, and sometimes that doesn't go perfectly. You might think, well, I've got the login and I can go in and visit the account all the time. Yeah, but if that 401k provider changes, that login, that URL, that even your login information, that could change as well, and all of a sudden that you lose track of the account. If you don't have online access, you're getting paper statements. Same risk that the company could change, you could move, right? And in the process of moving, we do all sorts of things to try to make sure that mail is forwarded and all that sort of stuff. But at times things slip through the cracks, and I'd hate to have $1.6 trillion slip through the cracks in your situation. Do you have an old 401k that you need to brush up on what the right investment strategy is? Confirm you've got the right beneficiaries, maybe do some creative tax planning with those dollars, and really just ensure that those dollars don't get lost in the shuffle as life carries on and continues to grow and build for you. Work with your certified financial planner. Consider, of those four options of what to do with an old retirement plan, work with your CFP to make the wise choice for your specific situation. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with a K. WiseMoneyShow.com. You can find us there as well, or give us a call, 574-247-5898. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.